Hi guys, and welcome back to another video of the Whisky Speaker. I'm Nathan, and today I'm not doing a whiskey tasting review, and I'm gonna stop threatening to do this because at some point I will. But that's all to come in the future, so all good things come to those who wait. Now today, what we're going to be talking about, now that dry January has long since gone, is how to sample whiskey, and I'm basically just going to teach you the techniques of how I go about enjoying my dram. This, as ever, I'm going to put a little disclaimer in there, comes down to everybody's personal preference. Now, I'm going to teach you things that you might not agree with, you might agree with, who knows, but whether you're at the intermediate stage, whether you're a beginner, even if you're a connoisseur, I do always believe in sharing tips and advice because I think that's then how we can all learn and enjoy and get the most out of the experience of enjoying a good dram. Now, as you can maybe see here at the moment, I've got King's Barn New Make Spirit. It was founded in Lowlands region in 2014, and they are doing very, very well. But this is going to be my demonstrator for today. Now, to start off with, I'm not on commission for this, but I would recommend anybody who's interested in getting a Glencairn glass, anything that's fluted for the nose with a large bowl basin. Little tips for when you get into drinking whiskey: if you can avoid having a heavy meal beforehand in the afternoon or in the evening, that always helps because any aromas, any taste or residue that's left in the mouth obviously will be carried over into when you sample your whiskey. Same as well is if you're a smoker as well. If you can ditch it like a couple of hours before taking a dram, you'll always find it beneficial. But some do say that it kind of can complement a smoke of a good cigar with a whiskey. I'm going slightly off a tangent there because I myself don't smoke, but I know that from talking to people that I get the sense that those who don't smoke get a little bit more of an opportunity to study the depths of a whiskey, or in this case a new make spirit, even better than those who do smoke. Whether it's something to do with numbing down of the taste senses or not, I'm not sure. But anything to do with strong foods, avoid, and anything to do with smoking is also a bonus. Another thing on top of that as well, if you're going to go into tasting a whiskey for the evening, afternoon, or whenever floats your boat, try and avoid wearing strong colognes, and for ladies out there as well, perfume, anything like that that can mess with the senses. Additional little tip as well: swirl your glass around, and what you want to try and do is try and get the liquid as close to the rim as possible. Also using the natural heat of your hand around the base there, and just swirl it round and slowly warm it up. Now I'll come on to water and ice in a minute. So once I'm happy, I'm in a nice room, good company, and I've got my setting for my whiskey, what I'll do is I'll bring it up to the nose, not all the way, but close, because the vapours themselves of the alcohol will naturally find the sensories within your nose. So you don't need to go all the way in and dig deep. So slowly, bit by bit, and breathe out through the mouth. Going closer, breathe out again, and one for good luck, and then go for a measure. Now, a lot of people will give you tips and advice saying that you can hold it on the tongue or in the mouth for every second into relation to how many years old it is. Obviously, so 10-year-old, 10 seconds, whatever takes your fancy. The way I actually find I get the best out of whiskey, and you have to be careful when you do this, is just when it sits inside the mouth, just for a little while, because you don't want the palate to become saturated, just sip a bit of air into the mouth and oxidize it before you swallow. And then from there, obviously, you can get the palate, body, and finish. So from that, we're then just going to move on to the possible controversial subject of, do you add water or ice to your whiskey? Well, I like my room to be a nice temperature, and it's very simple. You know probably as well as I do that any food you ever taste in life, if it's cold, you don't smell as much and you don't taste as much, just because the senses inside your body can't work as well. So ice, for me, definitely a no-no. I can appreciate maybe if you're making a cocktail with whiskey in it, like an old fashioned or something. I can understand and go with that by all means, but for intents and purposes of a single malt or a blended whiskey, I would avoid it. Water, yes, I would agree with. Some of you might shoot me down on this, but please don't. If you disagree with me, then as ever, drop a comment in the box below, and we can start a discussion as to why you might think it's better to put a bit of water in there. But water simply opens the flavour and the profile up, and it allows you to explore more and enhance, in many respects, sometimes the whiskey. For me personally, occasions when I would avoid doing that is if it's like a specialist single malt cask or a single cask, a special strength, so like a 58 alcohol by volume strength cask, something from an independent bottler that is designed for that purpose, for you to enjoy that kind of very unusual side of whiskey. So, and another restriction I place on water as well is that I try and avoid placing water onto whiskey that is already being bottled at 40%, because as soon as you take it below 40% of alcohol by volume, it is then no longer whiskey. Maybe that's me just being a little bit of a purist there. You'll still open it up, you'll still get to explore and find all these wonderful characters and flavours in there if you do, but it is then no longer whiskey. So quickly, just revising on what we've gone through, if possible, a Glencairn glass, something fluted for the nose, anything, doesn't have to be this particular type, but it helps. Swirl it and get that as close to the rim as possible. Avoid having a heavy meal, or maybe something like mackerels or some fishy oils, anything that's really like intense. Avoid smoking. Obviously, if you want to smoke, completely up to you, but from all intents and purposes, for me, getting the most out of my whiskey, avoid it. Have a nice warm room, use the hand just to warm it up gently, and as you come in for the nose, obviously don't stick it all the way in, just gently breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth 3 times, and as you do it, each time get closer. After you've done that, hold it in the mouth for a little while, suck in a little bit of air, not like a hoover, don't go absolutely crazy, and then just swallow and let it fill as it goes down inside, and you get all that texture, which allows you to explore it a little bit more. So guys, that's all from me. I'm going to carry on enjoying this. Thank you very much for joining me on this video as ever. If you've got any comments, as I've already said, please do drop them down in the box below, and from there, enjoy the rest of your day. Speak soon. Bye.